Good evening, dear students. How lovely to see you again. Okay, guys, how have you been? How was your week? Great. So good to hear that. Okay, guys, so let's start right away with our session. Today, we're going to focus on our speaking skill, okay? That will be our focus for today's session. And I guess this session will come on handy for those students who are willing to take their first certificate exam, okay, or another international certificate to demonstrate their level of English. So this session will come just on hand for you. So I need you, as always, to participate actively. Remember that speaking is a matter of practice, okay? In order to improve our speaking skill, we need to practice and practice and practice. The more that you practice, the more confident that you will feel. And it's okay to make mistakes. Remember, making mistake is part of our learning. Okay, guys, so let's see what will be our objective. Today, guys, we will learn how to compare, contrast, and finally give our opinion about two pictures. Okay, as I mentioned before, this is very similar to a speaking part of an FCE exam. Okay, so you will see something very similar in the speaking part 2 of your FCE exam. Okay, so guys, what expressions do you use for comparing pictures? What expressions do you use for comparing pictures? Can you tell me? Great, excellent. And for contrasting? It seems like you know a lot of expressions. What expressions do you use to give your opinion? Great. I have another question for you. What do you consider when giving your opinion? What do you have in consideration when giving your opinion? Okay, using adequate expressions. What else? That's accurate, my dears. Support your opinion. That's essential. We need to support our opinion with examples or facts. Okay, that's also essential when giving our opinion. Okay, so before to see the speaking tags, let's see how we can, what steps, okay, what steps we can take to face these tags. Well, what I usually recommend my students is first talk about the similarities. Focus on the similarities. Okay, first of all, find all the similarities that you can in both pictures. After that, describe the differences. Okay, describe all the differences that you can find in the pictures. I guess you can do it, guys. Finally, give your opinion by answering a question. You will be given a question, okay, in which you have to give your opinion. Okay, so remember, you're not going to describe pictures. You are going to compare and contrast while describing, okay? And finally, you will give your opinion, okay? If it is not clear so far, with the practice, we will see, and during the practice, I will give you feedback, okay? Don't worry, but if you can take notes of the process for comparing pictures, please take notes, okay? Find the similarities first. Second, describe the differences. And third, give your opinion by answering a question. Great. So now we know the correct process. Okay, how we will face this task. Great. Now, let's take a look at some new vocabulary that might be useful for this task, for this session, okay? What do you see in the first picture? Can you tell me? Okay, two girls, okay, they seem to be where? Where are they? At the school, what are they doing? How do they look? They look excited, like they are having fun while practicing probably an experiment, right? Okay, and they are learning at the same time. Yes, that's right. Great. So what is the new word? The new word is hands-on. So I would like you to repeat after me. Hands-on. Hands-on. And now let's see the example. It is quite beneficial for young learners to have some hands-on experience during classes. Yes, that is totally accurate. Students, young learners, or I guess for most of the fields, we need some hands-on experience in order to learn something. For example, for learning how to cook, we can see tutorials, yes, of course, but we also need some hands-on experience. We need to practice, we need to go to the kitchen and have some hands-on real experience, okay? Burn the cake. Yes, burn the water, teacher, okay. But we need some hands-on experience, right? So is it clear what is the meaning? Now I invite you, okay, to create your own examples. Can you share with me? Excellent, great. Great, that's a good example. Yeah, hands-on, great. That was our first word. Now, we have, this is abbreviation for a medical terminology, okay? This abbreviation is called CPR. Can you repeat? CPR, which is the abbreviation for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's long, right? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's a medical terminology. It's quite similar in Spanish, and I guess you can know, because of the picture, you can infer what does it refer to. Excellent. So let's take a look at the example. She administered CPR until the ambulance arrived. She administered CPR until the ambulance arrived. Now, please, can you tell me an example using this new word? CPR. Excellent. Great. Excellent. Now, let's take a look at the following word. Paramount. Repeat after me. Paramount. Paramount. It can be used also as an adjective to replace important. No, it's another way to say important. It is important. It's like quite basic, right? We can say it is paramount instead of it is important. Or we can say it is paramount instead of it is essential. It's another way. Okay, so an advanced form to say important. Okay, so let's take a look at the example. Women's role is of paramount importance in our society. Women's role is of paramount importance in our society. What do you consider it's paramount in our society? What governments should consider a paramount aspect in our society? Can you give me an example? Excellent, excellent. Governments should consider safety as paramount importance. Excellent. Excellent. Great job, guys. So we have learned 3 new words. Great. Let's move on to the pictures and how before comparing and contrasting, I would like you to take notes, okay? I would like you to take notes about the following. Look at the pictures and take notes of all the similarities. I will give you just 1 minute, okay? 1 minute to write down all the similarities and all the differences that you can find in these 2 pictures. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. Keywords, remember, keywords. Great. Okay, do you have your notes? Please share with the class. Similarities. Both pictures show young people learning. Excellent. They are working collaborative. Great. Both pictures show people or students working collaborative. They are in a learning environment, in a learning setting. Excellent. What differences can you find? Okay, their age. Okay, in one picture we can see little girls. On the other picture, or the picture on the left, we can see teenagers. Yeah, that's a difference. Great, excellent. The instructor is a woman, the instructor is a man. Okay, that's also a difference. Excellent. Guys, now, great. Thank you for your active participation as always. Now, I want you to tell me what expressions do you consider we can use for talk about, in order to talk about similarities? Great, interesting, great. Now, let's take a look at some expressions, okay? So first, we have similarities, okay? For comparing similarities, we have both pictures show, repeat after me, both pictures show, 2 similarities are, now, expressions to talk about the differences. Okay, what expressions can we use when talking about differences? For contrasting. Whereas in the first photo, we can see little girls. In the photo on the left, we can see teenagers. While in the first photo, they are in a ballet class. In the next photo, they are in a classroom. Excellent. Then you have, unlike in the first photo, they seem to have fun. In the next photo, they look concentrate. Yes, excellent. So those are the expressions for talking about similarities and differences, okay? Or for comparing and contrasting. Okay, guys, let's move on to more expressions. What happened when we add similar ideas? We want to add similar ideas. Remember that you need to speak for at least 1 minute. So we need to try to include more ideas. Okay. Another reason is what's more, equally, What's more, both pictures show the students are engaged. What's more, both pictures show the students engaged in the class. Interesting, excellent. For giving our opinion, we can use expressions like, in my opinion, to my mind, it seems to me that, excellent. And as you mentioned before, we need to support our opinions with examples. And what expressions can we use to give examples? Such as, for instance, in an emergency situation, this knowledge can be very useful. That's a good example. Great. For instance, in an emergency situation, this knowledge, this learning can be very useful. That's a great example. Okay, now let's practice. How would you compare using these expressions? How would you compare these two pictures using the expressions learned? Let's take a look at how a task looks like, okay? How this speaking task looks like. Let's read the text and the question that you will need to answer. These pictures show young people in different learning environments. I'd like you to compare these photographs and say how important are these types of learning. Okay? Let's take a look. So let's put into practice the expressions learned. Okay? And let's start. First, remember, we have to talk about what? Differences or similarities? Excellent. Similarities. So we can say both pictures show students in a learning environment. Another similarity is that they seem engaged and captivated in the process. See? Now let's talk about the differences. In the photo on the right, the students are little girls dancing in a ballet class. Whereas in the left photo, the students are teenagers having some hands-on experience to perform CPR, which is a type of first aid medical technique. Okay, we have talked about the differences. Now it's time for us to answer this question. How important are these learnings? In my opinion, it is essential to improve our physical skills since an early age to develop a healthy lifestyle. On the other hand, it is paramount for teenagers to learn this first aid technique, which can save a person's life. For instance, in an emergency situation, this type of knowledge can be useful. Did you take track of the time? Yeah, that was just 1 minute. Yes, it looks like it looks like more, but it was just 1 minute. Okay, if we join the part where I talk about the similarities and then the differences, and then I answer the question, it took about 1 minute, and that is what you need to speak at least for 1 minute. Okay, so let's take a look at the script. Okay, And you can practice reading, and you will notice that if you use your cell phones, okay, you can record yourself, and you will notice that it will take you about a minute to say everything, okay? Both pictures show students in a learning environment. Another similarity is that they seem engaged and captivated in the process. In the photo on the right, the students are teenagers having some hand-on experience to perform CPR, which is a type of first aid technique. Whereas in the left photo, it shows little girls dancing in a ballet class. What's more is that in the ballet class, all the girls are practicing at the same time, while in the other class, they will probably need to take turns in order to practice. In my opinion, it's essential to improve our physical skills since an early age to develop a healthy lifestyle. On the other hand, it is paramount for teenagers to learn this first aid technique, which can save a person's life. For instance, in an emergency situation, this type of knowledge can be helpful. Okay, so if you record yourself describing, you have noticed that it took about a minute. Okay, guys. Now, did you notice that we use the vocabulary? Yes, we use CPR, we use paramount. Excellent. Now, hands-on, yes. Now, guys, so remember this, what is the process? First, similarities, then differences, and finally, answer the question, okay? So, I will share some pictures, okay, in the chat. Please download the document. There you have the pictures and the questions. What you need to do is, during the breakout rooms, you will practice with your partners taking turns, and you will have to give feedback to each other, okay? Feedback about if your partner include the expressions, okay? Please evaluate if your partner include the expressions learned in the class. So let's review, okay? Let's review the instructions. What do you have to do first? Download the document that contains the pictures and the questions in the chat, right? Join the breakout room. Take turns with your partner to compare and answer the questions. Speak at least for 1 minute. Excellent. Speak at least for 1 minute. And remember to give feedback, okay? What you like about your partners speaking and what they need to improve. Guys, I will go to the breakout rooms, okay, in order to listen to you and give you feedback.